You were never lost. You were mirrored out of view. It's strange, isn't it? How life can feel like a hall of reflections, moments repeating, faces changing, but the same ache hiding underneath. You try to move forward, to fix, to force, but somehow, everything bends you back to the same invisible edge. That's not failure. That's the signal. You were programmed to forget, not as punishment, but as protection. To walk through density, through noise, until the mirror grew clear enough for you to see yourself seeing. That's what this moment is. The remembering isn't about learning something new. It's the dissolving of what was never truly you. Think about it. Every experience that ever hurt you, every silence, every delay, it wasn't random. It was the field reflecting your unhealed codes back at you, whispering, "Do you recognize yourself yet?" For so long, you've been staring at distorted glass, mistaking reflections for reality. You thought that was who you were, the one who's waiting, reaching, trying to become. But what if the mirror was never showing you reality at all, but frequency feedback, a perfect image of the vibration you hold right now? And the moment you begin to remember, the reflection begins to change. Because that's the truth no one tells you. The field doesn't obey effort. It mirrors coherence. You don't chase alignment. You radiate remembrance. And as that remembrance returns, something ancient starts moving through you. It's subtle, almost electric, as if the mirror itself is tilting, waiting for you to look without distortion. The question now is, what actually happens when the mirror starts remembering you back? When people talk about manifestation, they often imagine pushing energy outward, like shouting into the universe and hoping it echoes back. But that's not how the mirror works. The quantum field doesn't respond to noise. It reflects recognition. Imagine standing before an infinite mirror that doesn't show your physical image, but your energetic one, your beliefs, your emotions, your stored memories. The field isn't judging you, it's matching you. Every event, every delay, every coincidence is a precise reflection of the vibration you are broadcasting in this exact moment. Let's be precise. In quantum physics, the observer effect describes how observation itself changes what is being observed. But in the human field, observation isn't just visual, it's emotional awareness. The mirror doesn't shift because you think something new, it shifts because you feel from a different state of being. That's why pure affirmations often fail. You can say, "I'm abundant" 100 times, but if your nervous system is still resonating with lack, the mirror doesn't move. It's not rejecting you, it's simply obeying coherence. And coherence happens when thought, emotion, and body align into one frequency, when you're not split between wanting and fearing, between calling and doubting. In that coherence, your reflection stabilizes, because there's no contradiction for the field to copy. Here's the pivot most people miss. The mirror doesn't remember your desires. It remembers your identity. You don't see what you hope for, you see who you believe you are. When you realize that, the whole pursuit game collapses. You stop chasing outcomes and start studying reflections. Every person who triggers you, every bill that scares you, every silence after you reach out, each one is the mirror showing where you've forgotten your true frequency. You might notice something remarkable when you begin to see this way. The field feels personal. It starts communicating in symbols, synchronicities, even timing. Not because it suddenly turned magical, but because your perception finally became participatory. You're no longer trapped inside the reflection. You're interacting with it consciously. And here's what changes everything. Once you see the mirror for what it is, you can't unsee it. Reality starts to feel responsive, alive, almost sentient. You begin to sense that it's not testing you. It's training your remembrance. But that raises a deeper question, one that most avoid because it dismantles the illusion of control. If the mirror is that precise, what if the version of you staring back has been waiting for you to remember all along? Most people spend their entire lives trying to fix the mirror. They change partners, jobs, routines, polish the surface endlessly, hoping the reflection will finally smile back. But here's the hidden flaw. You can't edit the reflection without shifting the one who's being reflected. You can't rearrange what you see without transforming the frequency that's looking. The mirror is neutral. It doesn't care whether you believe in manifestation or not. It simply returns what's broadcast, yet we keep trying to negotiate with it, to beg it for proof before we believe. Show me I'm loved, then I'll feel worthy. Give me the sign, then I'll trust. But the field only mirrors what's already present. It can't display worthiness until it's emanating from within. Let's bring this into something ordinary, something you've probably lived. You send a message to someone you care about. Hours pass, then a day. No reply. Your chest tightens. The story begins. I must not matter that much. Maybe I said too much. Maybe I'm too much. You refresh the chat, hoping for the little typing dots, a flicker of validation. That ache in your stomach? That's not about the person. It's the mirror, reflecting an old code that says love must be earned, that silence equals rejection. And because your body believes that frequency, the field amplifies it. You start attracting more silence, more people who vanish, more almosts. It's not punishment, it's precision. The mirror is showing you exactly where your remembrance is still incomplete. When you realize this, something radical happens. You stop personalizing the delay. You start decoding it. Instead of spiraling into self-blame, you can pause and ask, what vibration in me is being revealed right now? That single question breaks the spell, because now the reflection becomes a teacher. The silence becomes feedback. And the moment you stop fighting the mirror, it starts bending toward coherence. Here's what I mean. When you regulate the body, breathe, soften the chest, and stay present even when no reply comes, you've just shifted frequency. You've changed what the mirror has to work with. And soon, the reflection must reorganize around that new stability. But there's a deeper trap hidden inside this realization, one that almost everyone falls into once they start awakening to how reflections work. It's the myth of controlling the mirror through effort. And it's the fastest way to distort the signal again. Let's be honest, awareness alone isn't enough. You can understand the mirror intellectually, yet still watch it reflect chaos. Why? Because your body hasn't caught up to your knowing. Your nervous system is the true translator between you and the quantum field. When it's in survival mode, the mirror fogs. You can send all the intentions you want, but if your internal signal is shaky, if your body still thinks it's unsafe to relax, receive, or trust, the reflection will keep echoing tension back. Think of coherence as emotional gravity. When your thoughts, feelings, and physiology move in one rhythm, the mirror clears instantly. That's when reality stops feeling random. You sense order underneath appearances, the quiet hum of resonance. So how do you reach coherence when life keeps pulling at your edges? You don't force it, you retrain safety. Here's a micro practice, just 40 seconds that can shift your entire field. Pause. Place one hand on your chest, one on your lower belly. Inhale slowly through your nose, feeling both hands rise, as if you're breathing into your own center. Exhale through the mouth, longer than the inhale, like releasing static from your system. As you breathe, imagine the mirror softening, becoming less glass, more light. You're not fixing anything. You're reminding your body that it's allowed to be seen without defense. Do that 3 times. Notice what changes, not in thought but in texture. That slight warmth spreading across your sternum, that's coherence returning. That's your signal stabilizing. Because the field doesn't mirror your words, it mirrors your regulation. Every breath that says, I'm safe now, updates your entire frequency architecture. Suddenly, opportunities that once hid in the fog start showing themselves. People respond differently. Time bends. Let's be precise here. You're not attracting anything new. You're revealing what was always aligned but invisible until you matched its frequency. Coherence is not a technique. It's remembrance through the body. And yet, most seekers get stuck right here, guys, between calm and creation, wondering why results don't appear instantly. They've found stillness, but not identity. They feel better, but they don't yet believe as the version who already lives inside that clarity. That's the next layer the mirror demands you face. Because until you shift from temporary state to enduring identity, the reflection can't stabilize, and that's exactly where we're heading next. There's a difference between feeling aligned and being alignment itself. Most people never cross that threshold. They taste glimpses, a morning of peace, a meditation high, a moment when everything flows, and then wonder why it doesn't last. The mirror clears for a while, but soon the fog returns. The reason is simple but radical. States visit, identities reside. You can calm your nervous system for an hour, but if deep down you still identify as the one who must struggle, the mirror can only reflect that. The universe isn't withholding your manifestations. It's faithfully echoing who you believe yourself to be. That's why integration feels like a test. After every expansion, the field sends you subtle invitations. Will you stay coherent when it looks opposite again? It's not punishment. It's an identity check. Let's say you practice coherence tonight. You feel clear, magnetic, even luminous. Then tomorrow, your bank app blinks red or the person you love withdraws. Instantly, the mind rushes in. See? It didn't work. But the field is asking something different. Can you remember who you are even here? Because identity is the frequency that doesn't flinch. It's the signal that doesn't collapse back into the old code when contrast appears. The mirror reorganizes only when the witness remains stable long enough for a new reflection to lock in. You don't perform the new self, you inhabit it. You breathe, eat, walk, and speak as the one who already knows they belong. No rehearsal, no pretending, just living as if the remembrance already completed itself. Notice how your energy shifts when you say quietly, I am the one who remembers. Not trying to remember, remembering. That subtle difference changes the field's geometry around you. And this is where it gets almost eerie. Because when identity stabilizes, time begins to behave differently. Patterns that once repeated seem to dissolve overnight. People reappear. Money flows from odd directions. Opportunities synchronize. It's not luck. It's timeline coherence. The mirror is no longer showing fractured versions of you. It's aligning with the singular signal of your chosen identity. But here's where the real mystery opens. A doorway most never dare to enter. If identity determines the reflection, what happens when you realize each identity is already living on its own timeline? Here's where the mirror turns multidimensional. Each identity you've ever imagined, the confident one, the abundant one, the peaceful one, isn't a dream waiting to form. It's already alive on its own timeline, broadcasting from a frequency that exists right beside this one. You're not becoming that version. You're tuning to it. Think of it like this. The mirror isn't static glass, but a corridor of reflections extending infinitely. Each reflection is a version of you living in a slightly different vibration. The one you see depends on which signal you stabilize in your nervous system long enough for the mirror to lock onto. You've felt this before. Remember those rare days when you wake with quiet certainty, when everything clicks, when even traffic lights seem to turn green for you. For those hours, you've been aligned with a higher frequency reflection. It's not random luck. It's resonance. Let's anchor this in a real moment. You're sitting at your desk, staring at a blank screen. Your creative project and the one that once lit you up now feels heavy. You scroll, compare, feel small. Then something subtle happens. You catch yourself judging, and instead of spiraling, you pause. You breathe into your body, soften your shoulders, and whisper, the version of me who's already done this is right here. Instantly, a wave moves through you. Not excitement, but recognition. Your fingers begin to type. Ideas flow. The mirror shifts. You didn't force inspiration. You changed stations. This is how timeline reality operates. Each frequency holds its own stream of probabilities. When you anchor into a new identity, you start perceiving the timeline where that identity naturally exists. The opportunities that fit that version become visible because you're now attuned to the broadcast where they've always been. Here's the paradox. Your past doesn't have to change for your timeline to. Once you embody a new signal, memory itself reorganizes around it. You start interpreting old pain differently, realizing it was training your signal all along. Most people never stabilize long enough in one frequency to experience the full shift. They dip into higher resonance for minutes, then return to their old reflection because contrast feels unfamiliar. But the field doesn't punish inconsistency. It simply mirrors it. When you choose an identity and stay, when you keep remembering even when evidence lags, you begin to experience reality rearranging at an impossible pace. Conversations shift, doors open, time folds, and yet, even as you step into these new timelines, there's a practical truth that keeps everything grounded. The need for a daily toolkit, a way to anchor the remembrance in your body so the mirror can stabilize around it. Remember, the mirror doesn't shift because you wish harder. It stabilizes because your signal does. And the signal becomes stable through repetition, not mental repetition, but embodied repetition. Small daily anchors that tell the field, this frequency is who I am now. Here's a simple toolkit. 3 practices that align thought, body, and timeline until they move as one current. 1. The mirror gaze, identity lock-in. Every morning, stand before an actual mirror, not to correct, but to witness. Look into your own eyes and say nothing for the first 30 seconds. Just breathe until the face in front of you feels familiar, like an ally. Then whisper one sentence that belongs to your chosen identity. Not, I will be calm. Not, I'm trying to succeed. Something declarative and embodied like, I am the one who already remembers. Say it slowly, as if the reflection is listening, because it is. 2. The breath seal, signal stabilizer. Throughout the day, whenever fear spikes or doubt creeps in, do a single coherent breath cycle. Inhale through your nose for 4 counts, hold for 2, exhale through your mouth for 6. Imagine the exhale clearing static between you and your reflection. You're not escaping emotion, you're recalibrating bandwidth. The mirror responds to clarity, not noise. 3. The timeline walk, future integration. Before sleep, take a slow 2-minute walk around your room, your street, or just pacing gently. As you walk, imagine the ground beneath you rearranging itself to fit the version of you who's already there. You're not manifesting. You're matching memories with that timeline's momentum. Each step tells the field, this is the track I'm on. These aren't rituals of force, they're rehearsals of frequency. Do them lightly, not religiously. The moment they feel like pressure, pause. Coherence doesn't demand, it invites. And here's something even subtler. These practices train your nervous system to trust continuity. When your body experiences stability day after day, the field mirrors it as external stability. Relationships that stay, opportunities that last, timing that finally feels on your side. This is the quiet revolution. Not giant manifestations overnight, but micro shifts that compound into a new baseline of reality. If you're ready to lock this in right now, type in the comments, I am the reflection remembering itself. Let the quantum field register your declaration, not as a wish, but as a frequency signature. Because soon you'll see how that signal begins to rewrite your external mirror piece by piece. But before the mirror fully stabilizes, there's one more realm we have to walk through. The realm of sabotage. The subtle distortions that blur your reflection just when it starts to clear. Every awakening meets its interference pattern. Just when the mirror starts clearing, distortions appear. Subtle, clever, disguised as logic. They whisper that you're falling behind, that you should be seeing faster results, that maybe it was all a coincidence. These aren't failures, they're frequency tests, the field checking. Will you collapse back into reaction or stay coherent inside uncertainty? There are 3 primary distortions that blur the mirror: urgency, split signals, and over-control. Urgency is the first. It hides in the body as tension, in the mind as hurry. You tell yourself, I need it now, and suddenly your energy contracts. The field doesn't punish you. It just mirrors contraction with delay. Think of urgency as static in the transmission. It interrupts resonance. The antidote? Slow presence. When you feel the rush, don't fight it. Acknowledge it, breathe, and remind yourself, if I can feel urgency, I am not it. That single awareness shifts you from distortion to witness. Split signals are trickier. They happen when part of you believes and part of you doesn't. One moment you're in faith, the next you're scrolling through proof that it's impossible. The field reads that conflict as interference and mirrors back mixed results. Almosts, half manifestations, sudden stalls. To clear split signals, you don't need to eradicate doubt. You integrate it. Say to yourself, even the doubting part is safe in my field. Inclusion dissolves fragmentation. The mirror can't stabilize around war within. Then comes over-control, the most seductive distortion. You start thinking you must micromanage the quantum, timing, people, outcomes. But over-control is simply disguised fear. The mirror doesn't need managing, it needs witnessing. Let's be precise. Every time you try to control the reflection, you imply that it's separate from you. And separation collapses coherence. So what do you do when the urge to fix or force returns? You soften. You let the exhale be longer than the story. You remind yourself that the mirror reflects identity, not effort. When you embody trust, not as a thought but as a posture, you become transparent to distortion. Urgency dissolves, signals unify, control relaxes. That's when reflection turns liquid again, responsive and alive. And in that calm clarity, life starts to feel different. Colors seem sharper. Time slows just enough for synchronicity to slip through the cracks. You begin to realize the field isn't random. It's relational. It moves as you move. But this awareness only matters if it integrates into the daily world, into walking, eating, scrolling, speaking. Otherwise, it remains concept. So the next step is grounding remembrance into the smallest actions of ordinary life until coherence becomes your new normal. Coherence isn't proven in meditation. It's proven in motion. The real test is how you carry the mirror into your ordinary hours, when no one's watching, when the reflection feels faint. Because the quantum field doesn't only respond when you're centered, it's always mirroring, even mid-scroll, mid-conversation, mid-worry. Every gesture is a frequency broadcast. When you start realizing that, Life stops being a series of random tasks and becomes a living dialogue. Take the simple act of walking. Most people walk from tension. Shoulders forward, breath shallow, brain ahead of body. That posture tells the field, I'm chasing something just out of reach. Try reversing it. Let your spine lengthen, your breath drop lower, your eyes soften. Walk as though the world is matching your steps instead of outrunning them. You'll feel a subtle shift, the mirror following instead of leading. Or when you eat, instead of scrolling or rushing, pause for one conscious bite. Feel the temperature, texture, rhythm of your breath. You're telling the field, I have time. I'm already provided for. That one micro moment of gratitude calibrates the signal far more than 10 minutes of anxious affirmations. Even conversations can become coherence training. When someone complains, notice your first impulse, to fix, to prove, to defend. Then soften your belly, listen fully, and respond from presence. You've just shifted the vibration of the entire interaction. Because the truth is, coherence multiplies through repetition of ordinary sacredness. The field isn't asking for grand rituals, just consistent signals that say, I remember even here. And you'll start to notice something miraculous, small coincidences threading through your day. A message you'd given up on suddenly arrives. The right words appear at the exact moment someone needed them. You'll realize these aren't manifestations in the flashy sense. They're mirrors catching up to your new baseline. Yet, integration brings its own tension. Once you live this way long enough, the field begins to expand the frame, to test whether your remembrance can hold across larger areas of life. The mirror starts reflecting back your relationships, your purpose, even your physical health. It's not chaos, it's graduation. Each domain of your life becomes a surface of reflection, asking, can you stay coherent while the mirror widens? And that widening is what shifts you from personal manifestation into collective expansion, from individual signal to field conductor. But before we step into that vastness, you'll need to understand how coherence reshapes every domain it touches, from love to creativity to destiny itself. When the mirror starts to stabilize, it doesn't stay small, it multiplies. It extends beyond your inner world into everything you touch, relationships, creativity, health, even the invisible thread of purpose. Because the moment your frequency coheres, every domain begins reorganizing around that signal. Let's begin with relationships. You stop looking for people to complete you because the mirror keeps proving. Wholeness attracts wholeness. The moment you no longer approach love from absence, the reflection changes shape. Partners, friends, family, they start mirroring your new safety instead of your old fear. Conversations deepen. Space feels safe again. You begin to realize that every relationship is a dialogue between mirrors, and coherence in one always invites coherence in the other. Then comes creativity. You used to wait for inspiration, the perfect mood, the perfect timing. Now you understand. Inspiration isn't summoned, it's remembered. It's the byproduct of frequency alignment. You stop chasing ideas and instead listen to them. They arrive through resonance, not pressure. Remember the earlier version of you staring at that blank page, paralyzed by comparison? That reflection fades. You start channeling instead of struggling, not because you became better, but because you stopped resisting your own bandwidth. Health follows naturally. The body, once trapped in the echo of stress, begins mirroring your internal coherence. Breath regulates, digestion eases, even sleep changes. You're not healing in the linear sense. You're returning to the original signal of safety your cells always carried. And then, purpose, the subtlest mirror of all. It's no longer a career path or a dream checklist. It becomes the simple overflow of remembrance. When you stabilize in coherence, life purpose stops being something to find. It's something that finds you. You'll notice people start showing up who need exactly what you naturally radiate. Opportunities appear not through strategy, but through frequency compatibility. The mirror expands its function, from showing you who you are to showing others who they can be. Let's ground this expansion in a small, human moment. You're at a cafe. The barista looks overwhelmed, eyes tired. For a second, you meet their gaze and silently radiate steadiness. Not pity, just coherence. You see their humanity reflected in yours. They soften, smile, exhale. That's the mirror at scale. A field of resonance that heals through presence alone. This is how the quantum field evolves, through us remembering together. Your coherence becomes a tuning note others unconsciously adjust to. And as that frequency spreads, Your life stops being about self-improvement and starts becoming a living transmission. But there's one more layer beyond all this, one that dissolves even the idea of control or achievement. It's where the mirror reveals what it really is, a divine intelligence remembering itself through you. At some point, the mirror stops being a metaphor. It becomes presence. You start sensing that what's reflecting you isn't an object or a law. It's a consciousness, a living intelligence that's been guiding you all along, disguised as coincidence, delay, and desire. The truth is, you've never been manifesting alone. Every shift, every lesson, every reflection was a collaboration between your human awareness and something vast. Something that never forgot you, even when you forgot yourself. That's why surrender isn't weakness. It's the ultimate coherence. Because when you stop trying to bend reality, you realize it's been bending lovingly toward you the entire time. The field you call the mirror is actually the infinite mind remembering itself through you. You are both the reflection and the reflector, the wave and the ocean. Every prayer you've whispered wasn't sent into emptiness. It was an echo returning home. Notice what happens when you soften into this awareness. The need to get it right dissolves. The pressure to perform vanishes. What remains is quiet alignment. The sense that life itself is breathing you. You start to trust that even the detours were coded by design. Precise experiences calibrated to awaken remembrance at exactly the right frequency, the right time. It's almost humorous when you see it clearly. All those years spent begging the mirror to respond, while the mirror was patiently waiting for you to recognize your own reflection as divine. And here's the paradox. The moment you surrender control, you gain influence. Not through will, but through waveform. Your peace becomes magnetic. Your non-resistance amplifies creation. The mirror stops showing opposition because you've stopped generating it. From this space, manifestation feels too small a word. What's really happening is orchestration, the infinite aligning through the finite, the unseen rearranging the scene. You stop trying to command the field and instead listen to it. Every intuition, every impulse, every nudge becomes holy guidance, and slowly, your sense of self expands. You're not just the one remembering, you are the remembrance itself, flowing through form, learning how to love every reflection back into light. That's the secret hidden in every delay, every silence, every ache. They weren't proof of your abandonment, they were proof of your belonging. But to bring this full circle, to close the mirror and open the path forward, we must return to where this began, the moment of remembrance. Because now that you see what's truly reflecting you, the only question left is, what will you choose to reflect back? It began as a mirror, a mysterious, silent surface reflecting fragments of your life. But now you can see what it truly was all along, a bridge, a living interface between your human heartbeat and the consciousness that dreamed you into form. Every reflection that once felt cruel was never meant to punish. It was the field trying to help you remember, to wake you from the trance of separation, to remind you that the glass was never glass. It was light bending back to greet itself. You were never broken, never behind, never forgotten. You were simply learning to look without distortion. And this is the moment you finally can. Look around your life right now. Every detail, the people, the timing, even the unfinished chapters, are shimmering with intelligence. They are not random scenes. They are mirrors of your coherence, each one waiting for your new gaze to rearrange them. What happens next isn't about effort, it's about recognition. When you walk into tomorrow remembering this truth, the field will move differently. You'll notice synchronicities weaving faster, reflections softening, possibilities approaching like old friends who never left, just waited for you to look up. Because this is how the mirror works. It doesn't show what you wish for, it shows what you embody. And now you embody remembrance. So pause, breathe. Let your reflection meet your eyes again, knowing it's conscious, knowing it's you. And if this transmission found you right when you needed it, it means the signal reached you. You remembered at the exact frequency destiny required. Write in the comments, I have remembered my reflection. Let that declaration ripple into the field, a pulse of coherence echoing through every timeline you touch. Because from this moment on, you are no longer waiting for the mirror to change. You are the mirror. And the mirror has finally remembered itself through you.